Sup nerds? Welcome to another installment of the Boss Battle Show, your weekly source for geek, where we're going to break down what's currently happening in gaming and all kinds of crazy ass shiz. I am your host with the most coming off of the boat that just circled around the moat. Adam Ronan. Let's get fucking weird. Alright guys, let's just jump into some stuff because we've got a couple topics today I want to talk about. And the first one is something that I'm super excited about that I think is actually going to change the face of the gaming industry. Oh my god! Oh my god! What could it possibly be? Well, it's, as you know, that the Microsoft came out late last year with the Xbox Game Pass, which is essentially just a Netflix for video games. So you pay a monthly fee. As of right now, it's $9.99, and you can download and play from over 100 plus games that they have in their rotating library of stuff to do. Well, recently, just last week, they announced that they will start adding in their first-party titles on day one launch of those games to the Xbox Game Pass. Effectively, if you're uninformed and you want to kind of compare that to something, if you think about Netflix, where you pay for a monthly service where you can watch all their stuff, they also have their first-party Netflix exclusive titles that launch on Netflix on day one. You can binge watch that stuff like Stranger Things, you know what I'm saying? Well, this is the same type of thing. So Microsoft exclusives, which is an argument all in itself we'll get into later on in the video, but Microsoft exclusives, so stuff like Sea of Thieves, Crackdown 3, other things like that, will launch on Xbox Game Pass day one launch. So Halo 6, when that eventually comes out, Crackdown 3 when that comes out later this year, Sea of Thieves when that comes out here in just a few months, will be, boom, in the Xbox Game Pass. So you have either two choices. You can spend $60+ on the game and buy it and own it and have it and do the things you want to do, or you can pay a monthly fee of $10 to have access to the Xbox Game Pass to play these games as soon as they launch, which I sat back and I was like, man, that's what's up. That's what I'm talking about. I think that is, and I predicted this before, as some of you would know, the 4 of you that have been watching this channel for years, that I think that subscription-based gaming is going to become the future. It's really everywhere you look. We have subscription-based stuff on your phones. Every app now is you pay monthly to have it. You know, Photoshop, the cloud service, everything's subscription-based, and it makes just perfect business sense that games go that way too, the Netflix of games. And I think that Xbox is pioneering that in a way that PlayStation is not, even though they have a similar model with like PlayStation Now. It doesn't really jive with me because you're streaming the games, whereas Xbox, you're actually downloading the games, so you have the full resolution and things. I'm really excited to see what they do with this because I have the Xbox Game Pass. Well, it hasn't done much for me lately because I own a lot of the titles that I would normally play on there. With the addition of Sea of Thieves coming out, and just dropping in there, like I wasn't going to buy Sea of Thieves because I think it looks kind of bunk and I don't have any friends because I'm a loser, so Sea of Thieves essentially does nothing for me. But now I can try it and without having to spend the $60 because I can just download it and see what Rare's up to these days. Crackdown 3 when that launches. I'm very excited about Crackdown 3, and when that eventually comes out, I won't have to spend the $60. I can just use the Game Pass that I have. Same with Halo 6, because that's no doubt going to get revealed at E3, hopefully for launch this holiday season. Boom, there it is, Xbox Game Pass. And I am hoping, and I know you feel me on this, that they are developing a new Killer Instinct, which would be Killer Instinct 2, or for those of us that are, you know, in tune with things, Killer Instinct 4. But if they were to do a new Killer Instinct, this would obviously be a first-party Microsoft title that would, boom, launch right into the store. Xbox Game Pass day one. Could get rid of it being a free-to-play title because you could just put it in the Game Pass store, put a little bit more budget into it. I think it would be really cool. If you think about this, if it continues to be $10 a month for the foreseeable future, that's about $120 a year, which effectively, if you break that down, that's 2 games. If you were to buy them outright, sometimes less than 2 games with, you know, all the DLC and stuff. I'm not sure how they'll handle DLC with those, but so that's quite the steal. If you want to just try a bunch of different games, or if you want to dig into these first-party titles without, I don't know, spending the scratch, because games are expensive these days, especially with all the weird, crazy inflation and DLC and paywalls that a lot of these studios are doing, especially like EA. But goddamn, I've got some stuff to talk about with EA and Microsoft and exclusivity in a little bit. moving on to a different subject that I know that you're probably excited about. So EVO Japan was just this recent weekend. So this is the first EVO, for those of you that don't know. I know you already do though, but this is the Evolution Tournament. This is the Grand Huba fighting game tournaments. And of course at these things, they always have awesome reveals. And I thought there was a couple things that were revealed, but the one thing that kind of captivated my interest because it sparked a talking point within my head was the reveal of SNK Heroines Tag Team Frenzy. So this is essentially just a new game from SNK that features an all-female cast with the likes of tons of characters coming from King of Fighters. Just to name a few of the characters, we have Athena, Kula, Diamond, and Leona from King of Fighters. We have Mei from Fatal Fury and King of Fighters. And this excites me for a couple reasons, but they also have the addition of Nagaruru from originated in the first appearance of Samurai Showdown in 1993, who has also made several appearances in King of Fighters. So it's essentially the King of Fighters / Fatal Fury smorgasbord of female fighters with a couple of additions thrown in there. But the addition of this character from Samurai Showdown titillates me because I've been talking about for so long now how it's got to be imminent that Samurai Showdown reboot is on the books. It's got to be coming. Like with all these re-releases that are coming out on the Nintendo Switch and PlayStation 4 of all the old Samurai Showdown games, and then with guest characters popping up here and there, like in King of Fighters, and then we got her popping up in this new SNK Heroines game. There's got to be a new Samurai Showdown. What are you waiting for, SNK? How could you be teasing me so much like this? Like it's like you're just dangling the samurai fruit in front of my face. I'm like, and you just keep pulling it away. It's like, no, what are you gonna do? So that's something that struck my interest because of that. So I was like, oh, okay, so they're gonna do that. There's got to be a new Samurai Showdown, right? There's got to be. But also the notion that we have yet another team-based, tag-based game on our hands that's coming out later this summer. So this Heroines is coming out on Nintendo Switch and PlayStation 4 coming out this summer. And I think this is like, we're seeing like this huge like tsunami of tag-based fighters right now with the crazy hype that's happening with Dragon Ball Fighters at the moment. Plus, you know, Marvel's always big and stuff like that, and Blaze Boo's coming out with their tag battle game. I wouldn't be surprised to see if MK11 has brought back the team-based mode or tag mode when they get announced here in a couple months. And, you know, if they do a new Killer Instinct, it would make a lot of sense and would be really cool if they had tag-based features in it with a team-based type of thing. I wanted to kind of talk about this real quick, and I would love to discuss with you in the comments about what you think, because I do think that tag-based things is the future of fighters, and the modes are really just kind of overtaking with popularity. So it'd be really cool to see kind of what everyone does with it in the future, in the very near future, knowing how popular it's becoming as we speak. And fuck, you know what I'm saying? Let's just get crazy with that Samurai Showdown. I'm just waiting for you. I will throw money at you, SNK. I will buy your $100 edition or whatever that comes with the statues or whatever, jiggle titties and all that kind of stuff. I'll buy it all. Just announce and make the game. I don't care if the visuals look like shit. Just do something cool with the series. Goddamn. But yeah, so SNK Heroines looks cool. Very creepy vibe though, with all of these fighters that have been kidnapped and they're now trapped in this mansion with these cameras that are like looking down on them all fucking voyeur style. And it's like some pervy ass Japanese guy behind the camera probably was just like beating off looking at May's jiggly boobs just bouncing around. It's gonna be crazy. But I think that's gonna be cool. I'd love to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below, and let's move on to our last topic of the day before we get to some rad shit. Tying back to our first topic, there's some very interesting rumblings afoot at the moment within the game universe. So I was kind of reading some stuff on Polygon and in Game Informer that there are some rumblings that Microsoft is looking at making some huge acquisitions of different developers and companies right now. Because as we know, the exclusivity lineup that Microsoft has is very bare bones, and it's losing heavily to PlayStation. Sales are probably going down the drain. You can ask any old fanboy, they'll tell you, don't get an Xbox because it sucks because there's no games to play on it. Get a PlayStation. And in a lot of ways that's very true. PlayStation's just killing it with the exclusives, especially this year with The Last of Us 2 coming out, all the Uncharted games that have come out recently, just a smorgasbord of other things. Horizon Zero Dawn, there's so many great exclusives. Microsoft has really got to step up their game, and they've got to make some huge moves this year, otherwise they're going to lose a big chunk of gamers. So the rumblings are right now that Microsoft is looking at acquiring EA, which is a huge giant that is already just dirty in the minds of consumers. So if that was to happen, I think we could be looking at some very interesting things that would come in the next couple of years. Imagine it. So Microsoft, an Xbox brand, is worth $135 billion. EA is worth $35 billion. So that's a That's a chunk of money, but it's not something they couldn't afford. So if they bought EA, they could turn around everything that we know about sports games, and the Battlefront franchise. Star Wars could have a home on a platform that I love, and maybe under some developers that aren't under the tyranny of EA. I think it could be an interesting change. Now, of course, this is by no means confirmed. Right now, it's either just rumblings at the time of we're shooting this. It just popped up. I thought I'd throw it in the video to open up a dialogue with you in the comments. But there's talk that they'd be buying Valve. There's talk that they'd be buying the PUBG Corporation from Korea. All kinds of crazy stuff. Big name developers that were making some heavy-hitting games. If they were to do that, they could turn the tide of the battle for exclusivity in their games and really make a name for themselves as a proper home for exclusives like they once were on the Xbox 360. But I want to know what you think. Alright, you fucking beautiful nerds. God damn it. It's time for Red Shit. And this time I want to say 4 words to you. And the first thing that pops in your head, I want you to tell me in the comments. What if I was to say to you, Sector Warriors of Symbion? Huh? Does that ring a bell with any of you? If it does, we're best friends, because Sector Warriors of Symbion was a toy line developed by Coleco back in 1985. Wasn't very big. It didn't have like the growing power like G.I. Joe and Star Wars did, even like the likes of Mask and stuff like that. But it was a little known toy line that kind of had the hearts from a lot of us when we were kids. I had a couple of the figures. Wasn't really big in my repertoire, but I remember it, and I remember it very fondly. If you don't know, Sector was like an insect slash arachnid humanoid race of people that were just like this IP. It was just like these little guys that would battle. They had like bugs and stuff that they rode on. It was super cool. As the things from the 80s have done, they've died off, and as the things from the 80s have done, they've started to come back. So right now, Sector Warriors of Symbion has a Kickstarter that's happening as we speak with a $40,000 goal, and you know, they've got a couple of different figures that they're going to start the line with the antagonist and protagonist from the line. I know that this is probably a really niche thing to talk about, but I think it's super cool because I remember it very vividly from when I was a child, and if there's a few of our older audience members that probably remember it as well and have forgotten all about it, well, I'm sparking something for you that maybe if you want to add something really unique to your collection, check out this Kickstarter, because I want to see them hit that goal so we can get some new revival of some stuff from the 80s that I dug. 80s is back in a big way. Boglins are back. Madballs have made a huge resurgence. There's talk of a new He-Man movie coming out, so goddamn, let's just make it all come back for one last hoorah with nostalgia. And you can do that right now with your favorite toy line, Sector Warriors of Symbion, on Kickstarter. And guys, that is rad shit. And also, that is the entire episode of this week's episode of the Boss Battle Show. You'll notice I threw in some fight game stuff there, just so I can get your views. I am Adam Ronin, and I am going to go and I'm gonna play with some insects. I'm gonna go find some spiders around the office and be like, are you guys from the planet Symbion? Fuck yeah! And just have, and it'll be crazy. I'm gonna get bit by a Black Widow. I'm gonna deform, but it'll be like a Black Widow from planet Symbion or whatever, and I'm gonna like deform into this weird arachnid dude, and it's gonna be crazy. I'm gonna have like all these arms and shit, these fucking clampers or whatever. It's gonna be crazy. Subscribe. It's gonna be so wild because all the videos now going forward, I'm gonna look like a freak more than I already do. A mutated vampire rat baby freak. Gertie, play him out with something stupid. Just like make a couple of noises. That's nice.